It's almost becoming a yearly tradition in the fall colors for me to drive an E-Class. Last year around the same time I had the super stunning E450, but when I was given a chance to drive something even better, I could not say no. Welcome everybody then to the 2025 Mercedes-AMG E53. This is the fastest version of the E-Class you can buy right now because sadly they have not made a 63 yet, but I hear it is in the pipeline and it's going to get a V8, not a 6-cylinder or a 4-cylinder. Let's see how this performance oriented version of the E-Class is. When you come to the visual changes of the E53 compared to the E450 I had, initially you'll instantly understand this is the performance oriented version. You've got huge ducts, the grille is bigger, and you've got some vents on the side as well, which I think are also fake, which is typical Mercedes, so it doesn't actually surprise me anymore. You've got this smoked out chrome which looks really good, and it contrasts really well with this Magno white paint, which is exclusive to the Edition 1, which this car is. That brings in a lot of extra options that makes this car feel a bit more special, but it does bump up the price, but more on that later. But yeah, you have this blacked out element, you have the smoked chrome, the huge Mercedes logo, you do have sort of a splitter on the bottom as well, and the number plate is at a diagonal side, which I personally love a lot. It does bring a lot of change on the road as opposed to other cars who just have a regular centrally mounted plate. But yeah, the front end is typical E-Class, but just a bit more aggressive, and it does look really good. On the hood, because this is an AMG, you do not have the 3-pointed star, but you do have the AMG badge, which also looks really special. So when you see one on the road, you'll know that this is the special one just by looking at the front. When you come to the side of the E53 is when you'll notice that there are a bit more enhancements done. So you'll notice that the arches are really flared out. In fact, if you hit the badges, you might think that this is the 63 or the 63S, which is their most halo performance model, but being a 53, it does look really good. This does have the optional 21-inch wheels which look really good. You have the blacked out brake calipers, which is part of the Edition 1 pack. You do have a sort of a side skirt gloss black on the side of below the doors on the side of the car. This also has the carbon fiber mirror caps, which is again part of the Edition 1. You do have a blacked out roof as well, and you do have some decals on the side which says AMG, but that again is part of the Edition 1 pack. On the rear, you do have a carbon fiber spoiler as well, which looks really good. It's a lip spoiler, so it's not overly shouty, but it does look really good. You do have quad pipes and they are functional, so I'm glad that Mercedes did not just make fake vents. This is actually functional, it looks good. You do have smoked out taillights, and you do have the E53 badge, which has a red halo, which is something I saw on the GLC 63S, and I've seen on the S63 as well. So does that mean that Mercedes is not going to make an E63? Because there are lots of strong rumors that they are. So I'm surprised that the 53 also gets the red halo. Being a plug-in hybrid, this does have green plates as well, so you can drive alone on the HOV lanes, and you do get a lot of electric range as well, but more of that in the driving part. But yeah, visually it does look really imposing. It looks very handsome. Arguably, I'd say one of the best looking cars in the segment. I'm now on the inside of the E53. As you can see, it's the traditional E-Class interior, which is absolutely amazing. You do have this MBUX super screen, which I'm a big fan of. In fact, I prefer this over the vertical screen they have, because that I feel like it rattles a lot. This does not have rattle because it's only one panel. Looks really good. You do have the third screen as well for the passenger. You do have the MBUX screen here as well. Again, not going to rant too much, but as a whole, I'm not a big fan of the MBUX because, you know, the traditional thing where you have to change track and stuff like that, it's very confusing. But barring that, it's a great system, flawless, no connectivity issues like I've seen in other luxury cars. You do have the AMG performance steering wheel, which I absolutely love, and I think this is one of the most beautiful steering wheels on sale in the market today. The gloss black, the Alcantara, the yellow stitching, which is part of the Edition 1. So you do have a host of yellow stitching around the seats, on the dash, all over, which looks very premium. Also, you do get yellow seat belts as well, which I think looks very funky, and it works really well with the black interior. Because this is the Edition 1, you do have carbon fiber inside, which looks very good, and you do have a plaque that says E53 Edition 1. Looks very cool. The seats themselves are very nice, lots of support, lots of host of adjustments you can do from the door panel. It has cooled seats, heated seats, which is part of an option that this car has. On the rear, the legroom is also very nice. Some markets get the long wheelbase version. North America gets the standard version, and I think that's more than sufficient. Space in the back is good. You have heated seats for the back. Still no HVAC controls in the back. At this price point, you kind of expect it to feel a bit more special, but space wise it's really not an issue. The boot itself is also pretty big. You can take in a lot of luggage. Because this is a plug-in hybrid, the battery is located under the boot, so the boot floor is actually raised, which actually in hindsight I feel makes it easier to load stuff. But it does compromise a little bit on boot space as opposed to a non-plug-in hybrid E-Class. You do have a panoramic sunroof as well, and yeah, overall the feel-good factor is very high in the E-Class, and this E53 feels very worthy of the price tag. I'm now behind the wheel of the Mercedes-AMG E53, so let's get the numbers out of the way. This has a 3-liter turbocharged inline-six, thank God, not a 4-cylinder. It is mated to a hybrid system, a P2 hybrid system, and it has a 28.6 kilowatts per hour battery. Combined horsepower is 577. However, if you use the race start, which is the launch control, it produces 604 horsepower. It has the 9-speed 9G Tronic. It is 4matic because nowadays I think all Mercedes cars are. It does weigh a lot. It does weigh upwards of 2 tons. I think this is 2.2 or 2.3 tons, which is pretty heavy for a car. But yeah, let's see how it drives. I have it in drive, and if I put it into Sport Plus through the knob, the engine wakes up, everything, exhaust valves, everything open up, and let's try to use the race start. So I have to put the left foot on the brake completely, right foot on the throttle, race start, and that was 0 to 100 in 4 seconds, 3.8 if you use the race start. And I believe them. That was brutal. That's too fast. You don't need anything faster than that. If you don't use the race start for any XYZ reason, it will still do it in 4 seconds, which is plenty fast. But yeah, that was brutal. It just puts the power down, and it will do this every single time you do it, be it cold, be it warm, perfect surface or not. It just puts the power down so well. So kudos to Mercedes-Benz for tuning that. I have it in Sport Plus. I am on a perfect piece of tarmac. The ride is actually not that bad. Even though it's running on 21 inches, it does not feel bad. And the steering feel is also really nice. It weighs up sufficiently. And as I said, I love to hold it. The feel of the steering is really nice. But the turn-in is actually really positive. And yes, it is a big car. And it's in Sport Plus, it's automatically downshifting. And you do hear the pops as well once the exhaust is warm. But you can't control with the pedals, which like how I've done. But it feels really nice. Yes, it's a big car, it's a big sedan, you do feel it, but it's very maneuverable, very manageable. I think rear wheel steering is an option for sure. It's an option this car does not have, but you don't feel the need because the car is quite agile and you can corner pretty fast. I would say way faster than the speed limit, because the grip, the mechanical grip this car has, and that combination of the tires, the Pilot Sport, it feels really good. It's a very fun car to drive on your favorite B road. And the beauty is I can slot it back into electric and just calmly cruise. All electric range claimed is I think 70. I have gotten real world of 65 or 70 kilometers, which is very commendable. Fuel economy, if you drive sanely on the highway, you can get about 9 to 10 liters per 100. In the city, I've been averaging about 14 to 15 liters. The tank is 66 liters. But yeah, overall it feels really good. This does have the carbon ceramics, so the brakes are absolutely on point. They do squeal a little bit in cold weather, but it just feels on point. And overall, the driving experience of this car is absolutely top notch, second to none. I've had so much fun driving this car over the week. In conclusion then, the 2025 Mercedes-AMG E53, honestly the E-Class platform is actually really good. So it's a very strong point to start on. The car itself is very luxurious, very comfortable, very spacious, and it's almost everything you need. And that's what I thought of the E450 until I drove the E53. The added power, the electric hybridization, and the practicality of the EV range, it's a big bonus. I think it looks really good, and the additional one, the package is actually really cool. It brings in lots of cool stuff, but it all comes at a price which Speaking of which, I have to pull out my phone like every Mercedes because there's so much information to cover. So the base E53 is $105,000. This has the multi-contour seating package which brings in ventilated seats, massage seats, all that stuff. So that's $2,700. The exclusive trim, so you have the adaptive high beam assist, the active ambient lighting, which is actually really cool. It changes with the music and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool. That's $4,000. The edition 1 pack, so the matte white paint, the wheels, the decals, the Alcantara on the inside, the carbon fiber on the inside, the carbon fiber on the outside, all that comes to 18,700, which is, I think, way too much. You do also have the MBUX super screen package, which I think it looks really good and really does a big job in uplifting the interior ambience. That's $1,800. You do have this paint, as I said, it's $4,300, so it's not part of the edition one, but this paint as a whole is $4,300. The total build of this car is $136,500, which I think is a lot of money for a 53. Considering there's still a 63 that's coming, 136 is a lot. I mean, there is nothing really that goes up against this because there is no 550 M550i M550i anymore, which used to be a direct competition. Before, you only have the 550e, but that's a much more commuter version. It's not performance oriented like how this is. This is way faster, way more performance oriented, way more fun to drive. And I feel like if you remove the edition 1 pack, you can keep the price to about $110,000 to $115,000, which I think is great value because this can really be your one car solution. And bonus, Mercedes-Benz Canada is bringing a wagon version of this as well, which I think it's extremely spectacular of them to do that because the wagon is a dying breed. So this powertrain in a more practical outlook in the wagon, it's a win-win. And honestly, if I had the money, I would perhaps get this. It would be a debate between the wagon and the sedan, but as a whole, the package, I really like it.